Caught me off balance. Caught me off balance. Caught me off guard. The ring is solid like I fell back in the arms, safe inside of the highway. Mind turned for the chaos and the clear you. Nothing else is disappearing for the shining at night. We always right for this disappearing for the stars of the night, for everything dark until they bring the light, for the safe against the chest and out, for the apple of the eye, for the happy. I was tired of growing flowers inside of you. Planting my seeds in someone else. It's okay to lie, you say, but I need you to tell me, say I'm the only one, but this cannot be the haiku. This will be the syllables of the parables, at least for the lips and the lips, interlock you for the hands and the intertwining for the hearts in sync. Should you make that the set of a rhythm for the eyes are not communicating with the passion to set the fire of how foolish I was to give it to that anxiety. It was catapulted to the flame and illuminating for the steps of the path, for the light of the face of the crooked and nothing you can laugh. We fall, we cried, we had hope in us a long life, for this to be the hopeless who died for the dead, brother. This to be the reaper who wear rags, the truth has dissolved, the lies up to the raps now. Sing that some flaws for your souls. This to be the angel start secret enough to make it whole for the first time. Caught me off balance. Caught me off guard. And I still have nothing else to say. But it would never cease to smell the salt water with the cold air and exposed eyes, those nights and leaving notes for the others. Breakdowns on balconies, talking to the stars with my eyes, while the boats' horizons keep watch for eye and the thoughts of climbing over the railing. I've always wondered what it feels like to fall, not to be caught by the net of concern. When nobody knows your name, they can sort out see why someone might think you matter. Now the pretty girls find a close friend for we don't really care to talk a lot, but this be the smell of their perfume, but only the knowing with the belonging of the her for the day. And have her smile get stuck inside of their head for the this to be enamored by the light, for the realizing it was artificial, for the known to distort her pain. And I want more for the night, it's feeling important enough. If the waves crash, it gets out of my head in a way it doesn't frighten me. And I still have that thought, bought that for the never to cease to smell of salt water. Cold air in her nose, exposed eyes, and missing the false love of the flies. The lights of the sunrise in your skin tonight. You will rise. You're something still worth writing about. It was like that song that I would always skip that makes sense now, and I can't stop hearing the same 9 words being sung in my head for the choir, and it would be the vocal for the range, and fresh for the lungs, exhaling for the pain. Tape around the chest, work at the times, and now the bird beats for the day, for they can't stop. The critical enough for to start letting the silence of the best of me, for the things of the things that look familiar enough, and that's why the sound's counting. Ceiling tiles painted enough to be Van Gogh style. It's waited to make sure that I remember the read. It shouldn't matter so much to me, but I keep promising myself things, and it will be only temporary for the rip off of every bandage. And this would be the don't find as many holes in my jacket anymore, but don't find the brain. Does the brain find that important for the nuts to be divine? A dream of the given God can find the 5 seconds of the thirst that you can find the suddenly falling over your body, fit it to the place that you want. Your eyes, tiny thoughts, and hardly escape. It's easy to plant sunshine in the garden for the you don't know the serotonin, and this will be the getting high enough for the chemical elation. I'm talking sprouting stars and sending them to the enemies in the hoping that they'll find the planets of sunshine too. Look at the galaxies we're creating and how it can be so quick to forget that there's so much sunlight, but yet the feel so drowsy on a Sunday evening. Sending you all of my stars and hoping to catch Venus when she smiles back at me.
And maintain proper muscle tone.
This thing can't make a mistake, you know.
At the same time, his body is scanned for any isolated temperature pockets.
And I still have nothing else to say. And I still have nothing else to say.
Chopin, what's up?
And I still have nothing else to say.
What's it called? I forgot. Baker.
And I still have nothing else to say. But it would never cease to smell the salt water with the cold air and exposed eyes. Those nights and leaving notes for the others. Breakdowns on balconies, talking to the stars with my eyes. By the boats, horizons, keep watch for eye and the thoughts of climbing over the railing. I've always wondered what it feels like to fall, not to be caught by the net of concern. When nobody knows your name, they can sort out see why someone might think you matter. Now the pretty girls find a close friend, for we don't care to talk a lot. But this be the smell of their perfume, with only the knowing of the belonging of the her for the day.
19.
And have her smile get stuck inside of their head, for the dis to be enamored by the light, for the realizing it was artificial, for the known to distort her pain.
Yet dreams
And I want more for the night, it's feeling important enough. If the waves crash, it gets out of And I still have nothing else to say. But it would never cease to smell the salt water with the cold air and exposed eyes. Those nights and leaving notes for the others. Breakdowns on balconies, talking to the stars with my eyes. By the boats, horizons, keep watch for eye and the thoughts of climbing over the railing. I've always wondered what it feels like to fall, not to be caught by the net of concern. When nobody knows your name, they can sort out see why someone might think you matter. Now the pretty girls find a close friend, for we don't care to talk a lot. This be the smell of their perfume, with only the knowing of the belonging of the her for the day. And have her smile get stuck inside of their head, for the dis to be enamored by the light, for the realizing it was artificial, for the known to distort her pain. And I want more for the night, and feeling important enough. The waves crash, it gets out of my head in a way it doesn't frighten me. And I still have that thought, bought that for the never to cease to smell of salt water. Cold air in her nose, exposed eyes, and missing the false love of the flies. And this is the lights of the sunrise in your skin tonight. You will rise. And you're something still worth writing about. It was like that song that I would always skip that makes sense now, and I can't stop hearing the same 9 words being sung in my head for the choir, and it would be the vocal for the range, and fresh for the lungs, exhaling for the pain. Tape around the chest, work at the times, and now the bird beats for the day, for they can't stop. Quizzical enough for to start letting the silence of the best of me, for these are the things that look familiar enough, and that's why the sound's counting. Ceiling tiles painted enough to be Van Gogh style. It's waited to make sure that I remember the breathe. It shouldn't matter so much to me, but I keep promising myself things, and it will be only temporary for the rip off of every bandage. And this will be the don't find as many holes in my jacket anymore, but don't find the brain. Does the brain find that important for the nuts to be divine? A dream of the given God can find the 5 seconds of the thirst that you can find the suddenly falling over your body, for the 2 places that you can want. Your eyes, tiny thoughts, and hardly escape. It's easy to plant sunshine in the garden, for the you don't know the serotonin, and this will be the getting high enough for the chemical elation. I'm talking sprouting stars and sending them to the enemies in the hoping that they'll find the planets of sunshine too. Look at the galaxies we're creating and how it can be so quick to forget that there's so much sunlight, but yet to feel so drowsy on a Sunday evening. Sending you all of my stars and hoping to catch Venus when she smiles back at me.
Stained glass.
Stained glass windows shattered in the cathedral of my heart. Time and shards bound and broken on the floor of mine. But this to be the priest carried me over the bloody path and trying to protect me for the pieces of my past. Why am I so broken? The fall is the mirror of the heart. The red leaves are falling from the highest branches now. Dancing like embers burst from the flames in the midst of the beauty, that I can see the man's face and the heartaches of the know the name for the seasons. So this would be the great time to fade. Hopefully to the next fall of seasons will bring us to face and we'll then see. That moon has always been. Turned its back on me, and why should I turn my back on the presence of the sun? 13 words to wash me in the corrections and the ISIS and the forgive me for if I failed to resurface. Shots fired in the sun of the gun to the bulletproof vest won't save them. Use a human error. Bleed if you have to, but you don't have to break. Never give up. This would be the crusading and the tether of my soul for the river, unsung, the freedom that I have to breathe the life into the fire, for the calling of the arms and the elements of the sun, for the proclaiming of the warriors of the peace for the higher. To hire you for the high like a flyer, for too scared to touch it, but I'm so dazzled by the beauty that I can't help but cut it. Picked by you, so I put you in the water for the hope that you heal, but I'm not done too much for that I cannot. Know that you want, you don't. Still smell those daisies. You still had a lavender tint, for that I wished I hadn't picked you, for although the petals are starting to dent, and now I'm picking up one petal after another for the fragile body parts of my hand. God, I wish I hadn't picked you. I'm so sorry that I did. Those stars collide, maybe in the sky, but the stars collide, living in the moon every night, for the shining so bright enough, and just to let you know, I've been here. Everything's alright. And if you didn't know, I'm still in love with the galaxy. The winter on my tongue, and I've served prisoners to my mind and incarcerated by the thoughts and daydreams, but I'd rather serve the sentence again than watch your lips move and the tongue twirl and telling unbelievable tales that ripped my heart apart, and this will be the part that I start. Let's change the world. Taking my hands and let's change, and let's change for the world, for the better, for the ready, for the let's walk together, for the let's walk in harmony and lead this world singing in victories. Do we still know how to sing and dance, praise, love, hope? This would be amen. Listening to us, understanding the hopes and the fears in which we find to keep the blossoms in the night tight enough that we can pray to God to give the best, and He doesn't. Or He does, and the people we want that to give us the people what we need, but to help us, to hurt us and love us and leave us and to make this the person to be wanted, meant to be, maybe meant to be the one. Painting, padding, let's do that for the crush of the notebook, for this to be the stellar, for the soft and warm, for the morning bread and death, and this is important. Break that fast and I tell you that I'm falling for the eyelashes, and you can find that lonely enough for the thought. Clouds for the favor, for the blowing of the wind to push you away. You're leaving and I will stay when I tell you I need you. And not enough for the stratosphere floating, and enough for the healing, the blue drinking in your destiny into the sunset, for the eyes slit enough for the kiss cold there. Stars sparkling enough, my vision for the sun, the sinking back lip for the dropping, and you are my love of night. I hide now for the smaller, for the sprawling, for the Pacific Ocean, and the whole life for the youth, for the drifting alone, and I still love you for the orange and the melodrama, for the murder melody, for the painting, the little still life for ocean, for the surface of you are the west, and I am gone. Every constellation becomes that new map evolving, and I am in the mirror. You see right through me, and I open the book, so that you can die at the entry. Starting the starlings for the stories, and the regale that earth is the sucking mud for the jewelry. And dandelion, I wish I clouds, and this you kept together for the everything. And like an arrow for the citizens, meeting nothing for the bow, remember the bow flung me. With the bow for the crowd, to my own heart, the strings, and knocking. Sorry, I can make it to the moon by the morning. I hope the darkness wasn't so bad, I hope you miss me. Maybe it was important enough to wake up in the morning, the first thing to think about the next poem. I unlocked the glass, go in my hand for the still the producer of the moon. The next one, I am not to be. There's so much more for than what you make me think. Let's enjoy that journey. Stained glass windows shattered in the cathedral of my heart. Time and shards bound and broken on the floor of mine. But this to be the priest carried me over the bloody path and trying to protect me from the pieces of my past. Why am I so broken? The fall is the mirror of the heart. The red leaves are falling from the highest branches now. Dancing like embers burst from flames in the midst of the beauty, for I can see the man's face and the heartaches of the know the name for the seasons. So this would be the great time to fade. Hopefully to the next fall of seasons will bring us to face, and we'll then see. That moon has always been. Turned its back on me, and why should I turn my back with the presence of the sun? 13 words to wash me in the corrections and the ISIS, and forgive me for if I failed to resurface. Shots fired in the sun of the gun to the bulletproof vest won't save them. Use a human error. Bleed if you have to, but you don't have to break. Never give up. This would be the crusading and the tether of my soul for the river unsung, the freedom that I have to breathe the life into the fire, for the calling of the arms and the elements of the sun, for the proclaiming of the warriors of the peace, for the higher. To hire you for the high like a flyer, for too scared to touch it, but I'm so dazzled by the beauty for that I can't help but cut it. Picked by you, so I put you in the water for the hope that you heal, but are not done too much for that I cannot know that you want, you don't. Still smell those daisies. And you still had a lavender tint, for that I wished I hadn't picked you, for although the petals are starting to dent, and I'm picking up one petal after another for the fragile body parts of my hand. God, I wish I hadn't picked you. I'm so sorry that I did. Those stars collide, maybe in the sky, but the stars collide, living in the moon every night, for the shining so bright enough, and just to let you know, I've been here. Everything's alright. And if you didn't know, I'm still in love with the galaxy. The winter on my tongue, and I've served prisoners to my mind and incarcerated by the thoughts and daydreams, but I'd rather serve the sentence again. Then watch your lips move with the tongue twirl and telling unbelievable tales that ripped my heart apart, and this will be the part that I start. Let's change the world. Taking my hands and let's change for the world, for the better, for the ready, for the let's walk together, for the let's walk in harmony, then lead this world singing in victories. Do we still know how to sing and dance, praise, love, hope? This would be amen. Listening to us, understanding the hopes and the fears in which we find to keep the blossoms in the night tight enough that we can pray to God to give the best, and He doesn't, or He does. And the people we want that to give us the people what we need, but to help us, to hurt us and love us and leave us and to make us the person that we wanted to meant to be, or maybe meant to be the wanted. Painting, padding, let's do that for the crush of the notebook, for this to be the stellar, for the soft and warm, for the morning bread and nothing, it's important. Break that fast and I tell you that I'm falling for the eyelashes, and you can find that lonely enough for the thought. Clouds for the favor, for the blowing of the wind to push you away. You're leaving and I will stay, and I tell you I need you, and I have enough for the stratosphere floating, and enough for the helium balloon shrinking, and you're dusking into the sunset, for the eyes slit enough for the gets cold there. Stars sparkling enough, my vision for the sun sinking back lit for the dropping, and you are my lover not. I hide now for the smaller, for the sprawling, for the Pacific Ocean, the whole life for you, for the drifting and alone, and I still love you for the orange and the melodrama, for the murder melody, for the paintings and the little still life for ocean, for the surface, and you are the west and I am gone. Every constellation becomes that new map evolving, and I'm only the mirror. You see right through me, and I ain't opened the book for the you could die at the entry. Starting the starlings for the stories and the regale that earth's the sucking mud for the jewel, the weeds and dandelion, and wish I clouds, and this you kept together for the everything, and like an arrow for the sentence me to nothing for the bow, remember the bow flung me, but the bow for the craft to my own heart, the strings, and knocking sorry I can make it to the moon by the morning. I hope the darkness wasn't so bad that I hope you miss me. Maybe it was important enough to wake up in the morning, the first thing to think about the next poem. I had a lot to got to go in my head for still the producer of the new one, the next one. I am not to be, but so much more for than what you make me to think. Let's enjoy that journey then. Stained glass windows shattered in the cathedral of my heart.
Thank you.